I think we're live, and I think hopefully I have, hi, I'm trying to like have 7 thoughts at once. Hi, everybody. It's finally March 6th. Hello, my name's Amanda. Welcome to the Once Upon a Time episode 12 of season 5. That was said really weird, but my mouth just goes. Recap, after party, spoiler cast, whatever you want to call it, special for tonight, I don't know. Hi. I have a new webcam. I don't know if you can tell, but the picture is way better now, and I have a microphone attached to it. Hopefully you can hear this fine. It looks like I'm kind of hitting the top bar. If I'm not, if you can't hear me, let me know, and we're going to have an issue because I have to switch back to the other webcam because I can't plug in my microphone when I have everything going. So hello. So there's, I'm looking at comments, subjecting mom and grandpa, hi mom and grandpa. So yeah, it's been a long couple of months. I don't know how have you guys been? I've been busy. I started grad school and I'm on spring break now, and all I can say is thank God. It's been a very, very rough couple of months, but I've liked it too. It's been very good. So that's me. And as for all of this, the longest hiatus ever is finally over, thank God. Was it just me, or was there more drama than usual in the fandom? My block button has gotten a bit of an exercise this season, or this hiatus. So yeah, lots of drama this hiatus, and I'm kind of glad that we can have something to focus on rather than just tearing each other apart. Yay! Hey, Darkblade, I'm not okay either. Well, I'm okay. This episode, I was more not okay at the repeat of Swan Song, because I watched that just to like refresh and get back into it, because they aired the episode right before they aired episode 11 before they got to 12, as they do. Instead of doing a like, a lot of people were really confused why they didn't do like how they normally have the special beforehand before they do the season premiere, and since they're like, well, this is the 100th episode, we should have a 100th episode, whatever, and they didn't for I don't know what reason. I was not involved in the decision-making process. So yeah, there wasn't that, so they just repeated the episode. So I was more not okay at Swan Song, big surprise, than I was at this. I mean, this one was good. There were a lot of things that I was confused on. I have not consulted with my Regina specialist to kind of pick her brain a little bit about what was going on. And so that was me and my I have some questions, but we'll chit chat everything out. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out what's going on. And I will hopefully come up with something better than what I was given, because a lot of it was just me going, why? And I don't know if it's just the lingering headache that I've had for the last month because of school or something else. So yeah, on top of everything else, new webcam. I am in glorious 5 megapixels, the most powerful webcam you can buy on Newegg, not sponsored. If Newegg wants to sponsor me, I would be more than happy to talk about all of the things that I have purchased for them recently. Have not completely built the computer yet. I can actually pick the webcam up, oh my gosh, but you can see over in the corner, all of those boxes, those are my computer parts, and I just need 2 more things and then I can build it. So yeah, now there's like tracking and stuff on the webcam. It's a little more high tech, and there's a microphone attached, as I already said. If you can't hear me at any time, we're gonna have an issue because I have a thing that's like extra USB ports because my computer only has so many places to stick things in, and that sounds bad, but I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm not wearing headphones because I can't, there's not spaces for things. So hopefully this is all going great. Okay, so it looks like we have about the usual amount of people. Hi, people. Feel free to jump in the chat and talk about whatever you would like. Well, you know, yeah, we'll talk about what it'd be like, and we will get through the episode and we'll have discussion. We'll take little breaks as we normally do, and I will fidget with my hair tie as I do, because otherwise I will just be gesticulating in your faces all the time, and I already lost the hair tie. Yes, picking up the webcam is definitely witchcraft. It's very weird because the picture, when I bought it, it looked like it was really big, and I was expecting it to be like, you know, yay big or so, but like is really small, and I wish I could show it to you, but it's really small. I wasn't expecting it to be this small, yet so powerful, as most things are. Yeah, drama does tend to get up into craziness and fandom. Just we turn on each other, and it's bad. Again, block button is your friend. It's my friend too. Though I feel like the kids' cartoon stuff, like Steven Universe, there's some special drama that I see over there. So a lot of kids' cartoons, I see some interesting dramas pop over there. But again, I have ways of handling it, and it's mostly just blocking people who cause drama. So, all right, hello. I'm seeing some smiley faces pop up. So please just, you know, chit chat, and we will get down to business and defeat the Huns, or just defeat all of my notes, because I have a very long list of notes. Okay, so let's start at the top. I was very interested to see when we had the preview for the episode, or the last time on Once Upon a Time, and we went all the way back to episode 1 with Regina enacting the curse, which, you know, okay, so if we're going back 5 whole seasons basically, then we're digging into some stuff. So we had, that was just mostly saying we're dealing with Regina stuff, but surprisingly, even though it was Emma going to save Killian, it was also just a lot of not Killian. I think it was just okay, we're going to the underworld, and then Regina's going to deal with all of her stuff. So I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, you know, I think by the end of the episode, I'd kind of figured out that a lot of, and I had kind of thought about this too during the hiatus, when I was like, what are they going to do? The tiny bits of spoilers here and there that I would see that slipped through all of my blacklisting. I was kind of wondering, are we basically just going to, you know, the souls are all going to get judged that are down there, the characters that we know and that have been there for a while? Is everybody just going to get judged and then, you know, figure out, okay, are they going to be, do they get salvation or damnation at the end? And I think that's kind of where we're going. By the end of this episode, I was pretty sure that it's just basically going to be a season of 2 things. And I'm really excited about one of them. So the first thing is, you know, getting all of these old characters who, you know, the beloved characters that are gone now, have their final sends off. So we had a couple of those today. And they either get, you know, eternally damned, or move on to the happy afterlife where everybody gets a mansion and McDonald's in their house, or whatever your happily ever afterlife is. And number 2 is, and plug your ears, people who are offended by language, Hades just calling everybody out on their bullshit. And I'm really happy about that. Yeah, I'm excited about Hades calling everybody out on their shit. I'm super excited to just watch all of that happen, because there are some people, actually, I feel like everybody needs to have their shit called out on, but there are a couple of people that I'm really just please, I just want you to do something. Just please say something, Hades. If you know everything, then you know what I want you to say. So yeah, I will pop this up. Notepad, why are you doing this? Oh my gosh. So I'm seeing comments. I will get to those. We'll get through a little bit of this and then I'll get to comments. So at first I thought that everybody kind of got separated. We went to the underworld and then bam, we wound up everybody has to find each other. Everybody got sent to this different place where they have to deal with their own specific person before they can reconvene in the town center. So I thought that you know, there'd be David and James and Snow and maybe Snow and Cora would have been interesting, because Snow's kind of the person who killed her. But we had Emma waking up in the bug with Neil. And at first I was just like, oh boy, here we go. Because I could already hear people saying things. But it actually was a really nice scene. It was a really good scene. It was a good send-off for Neil. And I think that was the final he's gone. There's no, because they said he doesn't have any unfinished business, which I would argue that Henry would be his unfinished business, but yeah. I mean, Neil did ask about him. So like we got the little update, and we got Emma saying that he misses his dad, and like, so we had, yeah, she couldn't get to Neil because he doesn't have unfinished business. It's good. He's like, I'm happy and I just want you to be happy. And he tries to deter her. And like a lot of people took that as like, okay, well, it's paralleling to Pinocchio telling Neil that he had to leave Emma so she could do her thing or whatever. But I took it more as like he's cautioning her because it's going to be tough and she's going to see some things and she's going to get hurt possibly. And like, he just said that he wants her to be happy. So he's trying to save her from that pain while ultimately still being Neil and not really realizing that to be happy, Emma needs Hook. So like it was a nice send off. Part of me wonders if, because it was just like, oh, you passed out and you had this vision of Neil, that if it was something of Hades doing, like him sending a little demon or something to just like mess with her head a little bit, which could be a thing that pops up later. So jot that down in your notebooks for whatever. So it was a good send off. It was a nice little like reminder that, there were other important people in Emma's life. And now, they're gone. And I think that also did a lot to do with, JMO said in an interview recently that like she doesn't have any of her jewelry anymore. So any of the reminders that she always wore, so she always had the circle necklace, which I don't think we really had a meaning for, but it was part of that. She's not wearing the keychain anymore, and she doesn't have Graham's shoelace anymore. So JMO said that she's like, I feel like they're all in her little cigar box, the trinkets with her mementos, but really the only thing that she's wearing now is the ring. And this is not the ring. This is, I bought the hook necklace that is at Hot Topic because me. So yeah, so I think that was like the final thing. Since she lost all this jewelry, she doesn't have this like, she's been reborn. We're doing Operation Firebird, reborn from the ashes of being the Dark One. So she's gone. She doesn't have these like things to remember, not to trust anybody or, get vengeance or get revenge on whoever. Like I'm really like just remembering Graham. I don't know why she had Graham's shoelace, but she did. So those are all gone. So she's all in with Killian because she has the ring now, and that's it. And I think having this scene where she actually got to have like a proper like, hey, Henry's fine. He misses you. Okay, I still love you. I just want you to be happy. Bye. I think that was good. And I think that was just a good way to just send Neil off properly, aside from the fact that we already had a funeral, but it's the 100 episodes, so we got to have as many people back as we can. I'm fine. So yeah, so the Neil stuff was good. I did like that. I thought it was a good scene. And then we get to everything is super orange, and the gift makers in the community are already really upset because it's really hard to color. It's Neverland all over again. It's really hard to color everything that's orange. Regina made a Wizard of Oz joke. She made a Wizard of Oz joke where we're not in Maine anymore. Regina, your sister's rubbing off on you. I do want to note really quick when I was watching Swan Song, this rewatch, which wasn't super painful at all or anything the second time around. Right after it cuts to commercial, right after Regina sends Lena off in the tornado back to Oz, and the first commercial that it like immediately cut to black and went to the commercial. That's that University of Phoenix. But I also have a brain, like that, the parody for if I only had a brain, which I kind of hate that commercial because it's on too much and I'm usually fast forward. But I still was like, all right, I appreciate your comedic timing, local ABC broadcast. So Regina made a Wizard of Oz joke, and then we have this guy who has a really enthralling voice who's like, hey, I can tell you where Snow White is, and he's plays a part because reasons, I guess, which that one kind of confused me because later Regina recognizes him, and she's like, I know who you are, and I'm like, why would you, maybe like Regina's the kind of person who does remember the faces of everybody she's killed. Maybe she like she doesn't strike me as being the person, because she has killed so many people. Like a lot of them have been, like mass, village slaughters, but like people who she kills individually, maybe she remembers them a little bit better. But she doesn't strike me as the kind of person, unless it's a very significant person like her father, that she would like, remember the faces of everybody that she's killed. But maybe she does. Maybe I'm reading her character wrong again, and I just have to talk it out with my Regina expert. But for me, I don't personally see that. So it just kind of bothered me when she was just like, oh, I know who you are. I'm like, do you? Do you really? I don't know. But he just had like a really, hey, I can tell you where Snow White is. Okay. Acting 101 sound a little bit more interesting than that. I did like Henry Sr. trying to guide Regina back to goodness. I had some thoughts about the whole Henry Sr. story, because the flashback stuff, and I did see a comment about that, the flashback stuff was, I'm kind of mixed feelings on the flashback things, because there were just some, there were a couple of issues here and there, but we'll pause there for a second because we get to the diner, and I will check on comments. So yeah, flashback, yeah, the Regina flashbacks, samey. I feel like just because it's constantly like just reminding us that Regina used to be bad, like it's not giving us any insight into her character. Like it does and it doesn't. Like the most recent couple of them have just been like, hey, remember when Regina used to be evil? And it's not really like building into anything. It's just like, this is what happened when she was at her darkest point. So I personally don't see the, I don't know. It felt just kind of like bland to me as somebody who does not prioritize feelings towards Regina. Like I like her as a character, but like this just kind of felt a little flat to me, just because it wasn't like giving me any more insight other than like, it gave me more insight into Henry Sr. than it did for Regina. So maybe it was more about him than it was about her. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, the next comment. Hard to be patient with Regina flashbacks because they hit the same beats, if I can speak words properly. Regina wears fabulous outfits, stomps around and snarls, fails to kill Snow, wibbles. Yeah, I mean, that kind of hit, that's kind of like what I felt. And like the village scene just felt very like, usually when Lana hits Regina at her craziest, she hits it hard and it's super good. And this did not feel as good as some of her other scenes are. Like when she goes and she finds Marion at the end of season 3 and like she's, walking around and she's like, that's my favorite Regina scene is during the CS movie when like Emma and Killian are hiding in the woods watching Regina kidnap or take Marion prisoner, and she has this manic look on her face and she's stalking away, and that's my favorite Regina scene in the entire series when she's the evil queen. It's like, it's so good. And then there's this episode and I'm like, I don't know. The first village scene was not a good reintroduction to Regina as the evil queen. It didn't hit a good point for me. And but later on, there was a good moment later on, but I'll get to that in a little bit because I did make a note in my notes to like make sure you mention this. So yeah. So yeah, yeah, when she's in her Regina as evil queen trying to get vengeance, it's starting to be a little repetitive, but I'd like to see a little bit more, but I know that we only have a limited time frame to work with. If we could get more like early Regina, like the whole thing with Maleficent last in the first half of the season, like that was really good. Or no, the end of season 4 when we had the Maleficent stuff, like that was really good stuff. I really liked that. But we can only go so far back before we have to cast somebody to be young Regina, and we've already had Lana playing a young Regina, so. Yeah, so the Henry Sr. stuff, yeah, there was a lot of that. And And it's funny that you say the Henry Sr. stuff. That kind of reminded me of Ghost Whisper thing with like moving on. I do know that JMO was watching the movie Ghost a lot to get ideas for how to handle this half of the season. So maybe she kind of shared that acting tip with other people. Take that how you will. Yeah, I guess Neil didn't have any unfinished business with Henry because he knows Henry has people to take care of him. Yeah, I can see that, especially because he did play such a small part in his life. Like, he wasn't there for very long to have, like, he was there enough that, like, Henry knew that he had a dad who, if they had a good chance to have a relationship, they would have had a good relationship. So I think it matters more to Henry than it does to Neil, which that says kind of a lot. Yeah, so Operation Firebird helping everybody. Yeah, I think it is like helping everybody move on. But we'll see how they elaborate on that. But I like that we've moved on from insects and lizards. No more Operation Praying Mantis or Cobra or whatever of the month, the Lizard of the Month Club. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she was noticing that he was just following her around, but I don't know. I felt a little bit of a disconnect with this episode. Maybe it's just because the first one coming back in and like, oh, I actually don't know what's going on now. Because that happens when I'm just like, oh, once I know what's happening, like I really can delve into it. But now I'm just like, oh, uncharted territory. I have no idea. I'm going to be very disconnected with everything. We'll see. We'll see how this works going forward. But I think it's been acknowledged by me in several places that like I don't always connect with Regina the first time around. It takes a little bit for me to get in sync to where she's at. Yeah. Oh, I didn't have I think that was the only time I saw the University of Phoenix commercial. I didn't see it after Hades mentions Lena, unless that was when I was upstairs and I had to let the dog out, who then chased another dog. Dog problems. That is, okay, Maddie P, why was Regina able to conjure her dad and Emma wasn't able to conjure Killian? I wrote that in all caps in my notes because I don't know. I'm very confused on that. Well, Regina came up with Operation Mongoose as an operation because the first operation was Operation Cobra to restore the happy endings to everybody. So then Regina knew that, and then she said, how about the operation to get my happy ending is Operation Mongoose. And mongooses and cobras don't like each other very much, and they fight all the time. So I think that was a little dig at Emma there with Regina's coming up of that name. Yeah, I don't know why there wasn't a special for the 100th episode. I was very confused as to why that did not happen. Sorry, I have more candy behind there just to keep my throat going. It's chocolate this time because it's hopefully going to help with my headache. Yeah, I don't know why there wasn't a special. Usually there is. I was not part of that process this time. I was last time, not this time though, so I cannot give you any indications as to what was going on. Okay, so then we get back to the diner. If we go back to going in through the episode, we go to the diner. And I know people were like, why is the blind witch from Hansel and Gretel coming back? But I think, like, if you're going to have somebody who's running the diner, you're going to have somebody unexpected. So I guess, we're going to go with the blind witch and she cooks stuff or whatever. So I think that was a good use for her. And I like her actress. I like the way that she does things. Oh no, the whole, like, because she has to be blind and she has the cataracts of her eyes and everything, like, she's all like, oh, I know you by your smell, and I know who this person is because you're very descriptive of him, and it's, I don't know. But I just think she's a really good actress. Like, with what little she has to do with, she really goes for it. It's really nice when like people who are just kind of like, you're going to be in one scene, like they make the most of their one scene. So she was good. And then we have James. I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out. We have James coming in, and Mary Margaret doesn't know that it's James, and they like, there's this really great kiss. And I'm sorry, I don't know why that like Mary Margaret didn't know that wasn't David, because like Emma knew that Killian wasn't himself when he didn't have a heart, but like Mary Margaret didn't know that was David. Like that she didn't know that wasn't David, and they share a heart. Like I don't know. This is more, I think this might be more set up for like why the heart sharing thing is not going to really work the way that Emma thinks it's going to. So I don't know. I just kind of laughed. It was a really great kiss though, like A+. I 100% on board with this kissing thing. It was really good. But I just thought it was really good that he's just like, oh, I see why my brother married you. And I'm like, oh no. That and James is the sheriff apparently, which also lulls. So I don't know. I'm gonna enjoy seeing James. I'm gonna enjoy seeing Josh Dallas play two people at once again. And I'm gonna just enjoy watching everybody else go like, huh? It's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna have fun with that one. And then we have Henry being really like, he went to go check and see if Neil was up in his room, where he stayed in the diner, or in the bed and breakfast rather, and he wasn't. And I think there must have been more that got cut out in the editing process, just because like I feel like just Emma saying like, oh, he knows you're happy, he knows, trust me. Like we couldn't just explain like I don't know. I feel there probably was more cut out where she explained like, I know because when I passed out on the boat 20 minutes ago, I saw him then and it's fine. Like I feel like there could have been a little bit more, and I don't know. I'm glad that Henry got to meet Henry Sr. And I'm really just kind of sad that he didn't get to say goodbye to his dad. Emma got to say goodbye, and he didn't get, like, I don't know. I feel bad for Henry, that he wants that closure with Neil, and he doesn't have it. And I don't know if he's gonna get it, because maybe he can get it. Maybe if we find Neil Cassidy's grave in the graveyard, and there's still just this bottomless thing of ale, because why not? That's already there. Like, why can't he just have a little moment of like, hey Dad, I'm doing okay, bye. Like I don't know. I want Henry to have just a little bit of closure, and I feel bad that he's not getting it. Gesticulations of, this is sign language for something, and I don't remember what it's sign language for. So yeah, I feel bad for Henry. And all of this. So we had something else, and I'm thinking, so this was a little throwaway comment. Before Regina went with random dude from the village to go see her mother, when she and Robin were walking around, there was this comment like that basically just said like, whoever conjured the dark curse, they either based Storybrooke on hell or this underworld area, whatever you want to call it, or hell is based on Storybrooke. Interesting thing to keep in mind. It felt like a throwaway line that could be useful later. So I'm interested to see if we're going to get some intel on who crafted Dark Curse. So was it Hades for some reason that we don't know yet? Like, I don't see why he would have done that. He doesn't seem like the guy who's just like, hey, I'm going to make a dark curse, like, I don't know. It's on my list of things to think about for this season. Just because like it felt like a little line that could be significant later. So again, write that on your notepads of either Storybrooke was based on Hell or Hell was based on Storybrooke. Which could, if Hell is based on Storybrooke, that's a whole other like double like symbolism or whatever you want to call it. And you know, I can tell you from living in a small town that it does kind of feel like hell sometimes, but I don't know if that's more commentary on that. So then we have a flashback to, okay, so again with the whole like Regina not hitting my, not like it's not hitting my buttons today. Regina's like plucking rose petals like she's like a 14-year-old, or he loves me, not only like she's like, I hate snow, I hate her skin, I hate this. And she's like being really petulant like a child on her birthday, and like I don't know, it's I thought it was a little weird that like Henry could command the mirror. I thought it was weird that he could be like, hey, call my ex-wife, and then we're just going to converse about stuff like really easily. Like just because of my perceptions of how Cora and Henry were like Cora is a very domineering personality and Henry is not. Excuse me. And for most of what we know of Regina's background, like Henry did nothing to stop Cora from what she was doing to her. So like Henry was a very much a stand to the side, while Cora did all these terrible things to Regina. So like the fact that they're just like having this casual conversation and like Henry kind of using Regina to, it's more Regina being a pawn to her parents, and it felt weird. And then Cora can just apparently come out of Wonderland whenever she wants. Okay, why didn't she do that before? Because she wasn't summoned to this particular mirror that she could get out of. I don't, that was weird. It didn't really make much sense to me. If somebody else has ideas, please leave them in a comment and let me know, because I don't know. And then we just have like in the present day, we have Cora and Regina's relationship continuing to be horrifically insane, where like, because, and I've been curious if Cora is going to be any different because she did die with a heart, and she did say that, you know, Regina would have been enough if she had just, if Cora had just realized it sooner. And like I've been curious to see how she was going to be, and I just. Later it was revealed that like, you know, Cora was doing this for a reason, but like it felt it was just more manipulation. It was just more Cora treating her daughter like a possession and not a person, just a thing to be used and controlled. And I hate Cora. she's like, she's Mother Gothel. She's like every possible like bad mother figure you could possibly think of. It's horrifying. So we have this hellfire, I'm gonna guess, that's takes people. I think later we see with Henry, the fire. I think the fire is some kind of judgment thing, like how in ancient Egyptian mythology there was Horus. Am I getting this wrong? I feel like I might be getting this wrong. Who had the scales and like they weighed yourself against a feather, and like if you were lighter than the feather, then you got to go to the good afterlife, and if you were heavier than the feather, then you had to go to the bad afterlife. So I feel like this fire is kind of the same thing, because we had Cora show off with this character who was very boring, and like Regina somehow remembered, and he gets swallowed up by the flames. Whereas when Henry gets thrown into the fire, he is unhurt, and the bridge gets built across the pit, and he gets to go on to the good afterlife. So I feel like the fire is some kind of judgment that like weighs your sins versus your not sins. I was raised religious. I should know what the opposite of sin is. Good deeds. Weighs your sins versus your good deeds to see which way you fall, and then, you know, you get judged one way or the other. So I think the fire pit is the judgment pit. It'll be interesting to see how many times we revisit the judgment pit going forward. And I'm going to check in with comments really quick because it's bounced up a lot in the last couple of things. Is everything still good? Check really quick. Yes. OMG. Yeah, Regina conjured Henry Sr. later. So we'll get to that in a little bit. I sincerely hope Mary Margaret comes home with the wrong husband. I don't. I mean, we know that James was a jackass, and I don't want to, you know, we don't need him anymore. We already, yeah. But I mean, I think it helps that, like, you know, Ginny and Josh practice at home in the off time for their kissing, but it was a really good kiss. Yeah, and she snogged her husband's twin brother. Incredibly sad to have an incredibly hot husband with an identical twin. Maddie, yes, I did like the Neil scene. I did talk quite a bit. I did enjoy the Neil scene. I thought it was a good way to send him off. I thought it was good to just touch on, like, hey, I still care about you, and I'm sorry that I didn't come and get you. I would have. And he's like, nah, you wouldn't have. So, like, I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good scene. It was a good way to just, like, touch on it and touch on the fact that it was significant to Emma and that Neil still wanted her to be okay. And he was just worried that she was going to be getting herself into something that was going to hurt her, that she was ultimately going to be hurt by. So I thought it was just a good way of, like, it was a good way of showing that, like, Neil ultimately still is kind of selfish because he was thinking more of, like, I want her to be happy, so I want her to listen to me and what I want her to do rather than doing what she wants to do. But it was still just a nice way to, like, touch on their relationship. So I thought it was a good scene. I did think it was just a nice way to send Neil off officially for the second time. Yeah. Question of the day, would Killian know it was James instead of David? That has been the subject of debate for a little while. I have seen a couple of cute little comics about David, or about Killian not quite understanding that it was James instead of David, possibly because he's a little addled after getting tortured a bit in the underworld, you know, which I have some comments on that too. We'll get to that when we get to that scene. Yeah. Remember the Mad Hatter episode? Regina tricked the Mad Hatter, leaving him behind in Wonderland to save her father. Oh, that's it. That's right. Because I did put a note when we got to the point where Regina put her dad in the box and Cora took him with her. I did, like, make a note. I was like, is this how Regina meets Jefferson? Because, like, I was trying to just think, like, okay, so we know that he was there. Like, how did this happen? But, like, for the life of me, I could not remember. So I'm glad that somebody else did, like, we have that she needed to save her father. So yay, good job, Victoria, for, like, remembering that, because I totally didn't. So I'm glad that somebody knows, because I did think, I'm like, is this how she like was like gonna find Jefferson? Because if she needs a portal hopper, then of course that's what's gonna happen. So good memory, and mine was bad. So yeah. I would be interested to see if Hook recognizes if it's James or not. That would be very interesting. Or just to see both of them in the same room and be like, or what's that thing that they always do in, like, really bad movies where they're like, oh, we'll see who the dog's real owner is. We'll both see who he comes to. So we'll, like, put David on one side and James on the other and Killian in the middle and, like, see which one, like, Killian goes to. I'm sorry. I hate that trope. I really do. Because I think I saw somebody do that with, like, kids once. Like, oh, we'll see who she really wants to be with. And it's like, it's so dumb and I hate it so much. Like, settle it like a grown person. Yeah. Yeah, I do really wish. I wish there could be some kind of closure for Henry with Neil. Because I don't want it to be, like, this continuing thing. But maybe it will be. I don't know. Yeah. Rumble created a dark curse to find Balefire. I don't think he didn't create the curse, because we had to find the curse from somewhere. I think from Maleficent's castle, or no, Maleficent had the sleeping curse that she traded to Regina. No, didn't. Yeah, because Maleficent gave Regina, or Regina stole the sleeping curse from Maleficent to curse Snow. And then, did she get it from the ball at the top of Maleficent's thing? I mean, I have the internet here. I could find out, but it's easier to ask you guys to find out where Regina got it. But I know that, like, I don't know. I don't think Rumpel created the dark curse. I know that he knew about it from, I think, from Blue, the Blue Fairy, and that might be the origin of, like, why she's super shady. There's your tongue twister of the day. She's super shady. But I don't think Rumpel created the dark curse, because he couldn't cast it. So, like, why? I don't, like, if he had created it, then he would have found a way for him to cast it. Like, he wouldn't have, like, he would have found some way to be able to make himself cast it, not be like, I have to wait for somebody who's willing to go the whole distance and do the stuff to create the dark curse. So yeah, I don't think Rumpel created it, but I don't remember how the dark curse came around. So somebody Google that and write that down. Let us know. Henry Jr. scene talking to Henry Sr. Yeah, that was a good scene. I thought it was really good. That it hit. It hit a lot deeper than I was expecting it to. That was a good scene. I can't articulate it, because I was just like, oh, this is, I can't words. I'm sorry. Which is bad when this is just a continuous live stream. I should be able to words, but I cannot words. Yeah, but that was a good scene. I really enjoyed it. And Rumpel modified with Emma being the key, not necessarily he created it. Yeah, there was something where Rumpel did I think edit the curse or, like, do stuff for it, but I'm gonna say a hard no on him creating it, but I don't know for sure. So yeah, aren't you Mom of the Year, Killian Decor in season 2, continuing, like, the last 50-something years running, Mom of the Year, from Zelina all the way to Regina and so onward. Like, just bad mom. Maybe, Kimberly says, maybe the Cora mirror thing was sort of like forgetting to hang up the phone. Henry didn't end the call, so she could use the connection to step through. That's a good thought. I could see that being the loophole that they used to go through. So that's one interesting way of putting it. The thing that hit me, though, is like, I lost my hair tie already. There it is. It felt to me like it wasn't the first time that Henry's done this. The first time that Henry's called Cora, even though Sydney was like, "No, you can't call." Like, I think Sydney was just like, "I don't want to do this again." Like, I think it was just him trying to get him not to do it. So I don't know. It felt like this was not the first time they've had this call, this kind of conversation. So I don't know, but maybe because he didn't just say "Mirror, be gone with this woman," then she was able to step through. But Cora's always done things that she's not supposed to do. So yeah. Have I been no, I have not been reading Incarcerus. She's been updating it a lot. Hillary's been updating it like every other day, and I'm super jealous that she can do that. And I'm just like, I don't have the time or the fact that I was able to get Dark Horse updated before this episode aired was a miracle in and of itself. So like I have not been reading it just because I've been focusing on it, but Kendra and a lot of my other fandom friends are like, you need to read this, and I'm like, I'll get to it, but you know, by the time that I get to it, she'll already have finished it. So yeah. No, I have not been reading Incarcerus, even though I do enjoy Hillary's work. I'm waiting for her, honestly, to get back to Crimson, because she did what was it? There was either Crimson's the first one or Crimson's the sequel. She did this one alternate universe, and she like had a sequel to it, and it has not been updated since like 2014. And I'm like, really, I'm like, you know, sad trombone noises about it. So I'm just like, I'm kind of half protesting like that she hasn't finished this one fic that I really want her to. But yeah. Anyway, fic stuff aside, the bad shippers, the bad Apple shippers are always going to find a way to turn things against them. Look at everything they've done this hiatus against Jennifer Morrison, who is an actual delightful ray of sunshine, and they're just being awful. Yeah, there was an interesting juxtaposition of Neil trying to save Emma and Cora trying to save Regina. So it was, yeah, so Neil wanted them both. Neil wanted Emma and Henry safe. Cora wanted Regina, and then by extension, Henry and Robin, because I think Cora knew that if she just said, get on this boat and leave everybody else behind, then Regina would have been like, no. So like Cora dangled Henry and Robin in front of her like carrots because Cora. So like I don't think Cora's intentions were more like, I want all of you to be safe. It was just more like, I want you to be safe, and then like, I guess because then like you can take these other people because otherwise you're not going to. So yeah. Yeah, but that was an interesting juxtaposition. I didn't really think of it that way before, but good call on that. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think Regina took something else out of the scepter because, like, that was like the apple. Like, she had the sleeping curse before the wedding because they had this conversation in the fight, and she got the whatever she got out of the scepter, like after the wedding, because like they have this conversation, and Mal specifically says like, well, she's not suffering tonight; it's her wedding night. Could hint to like, hey, she's having lots of sex, yay. Which, you know, this was obviously before this became a family-friendly, kiddie-friendly show. So I don't know what I can't remember, and it's driving me crazy that I can't remember it. So yeah, but yeah, Rumple and Blue, that Maleficent. Oh, she did have the dark curse and the ball on her staff. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, episode 15. Let's see. So that is in a couple of weeks. So this is episode 12. 13 for so March 27th, mark it on your calendars. I'm going to be a sobbing, weeping mess because that's when Liam Jones is coming back, and I'm elder Jones, not younger Jones. But I'm just gonna like I'll see you guys later. I've been a mess about it since they started filming it, and JMO did that Instagram post with both Bernard Curry and Colin on either side of her. I was like, no, don't do this to me. I can't do, like, I'm already tearing up. So yeah, I'm gonna be a mess about episode 50. Just, you know, heads up, it's gonna be messy. It's very sad times. Yeah. Well, Hillary's like me. She brought the scale of measuring souls into it, Amazon, and you can use it. Hillary called a lot of things like way back very early into this season, like how things were going to go. And like I can put things together pretty quickly too on the show. So like the fact that she brought that in, you know, the way I understand that show, that fic that she's writing works, like it doesn't surprise me that she brought that kind of thing in. Because I follow Crocodile, who she does a lot of fan art for that. So like I know vicariously through Kendra, I know what's going on in that fic. But like Hillary was able to
pinpoint a lot of things of what was going to happen. For those of you who don't know, Hillary is her name is Queen of Hades with 2 Q's. She's a very prolific fic writer. She like writes legit books as well. She's mostly in Captain Swan fandom. And a little bit of Maritosh fandom too. But like she's very good. She's very nice. She's able to pinpoint a lot of things coming in very early. And so the fact that she brought in the scales of, I want to say Horus, not Greek. Oh my God, I can't words. Or my Egyptian mythology is very bad, but I think it's the scales of Horus that judge. And then there's like the crocodile of you that eats your heart. The crocodile that eats your heart if your sins outweigh your good deeds. And we have a crocodile, and we have hearts. You guys, I just got really excited. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't even know how to like spin that. And we're doing Greek mythology right now, but not Egyptian. But they all kind of blended in with each other. Oh my gosh. My head's gonna explode. Oh my God, and not for the usual reasons. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, because Hillary's very good at like looking at things and going, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Like that doesn't surprise me. But now I'm detracted thinking about the crocodile that eats your heart. And we know Rumpel is like the most powerful dark one ever now. Oh my gosh. I have to get a new rubber band because I lost my other one. And I need to fidget because now I'm just like, hi. Yeah, okay. So write down the words crocodile eating your heart and we'll see if that happens a little bit later or some variation of it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, hi. I'm gonna get stuck on that. Let's go back to the episode because I'm gonna get stuck on that and I'm gonna like yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the episode because I'm gonna think about that for a long time and I'm gonna get distracted. Okay, so we go to Gold hanging out around Zida's shop. And so the first thing I legitimately thought was the 3 little bears who has been living in my shop, who's been sleeping in my bed, who's been eating my porridge. So like Gold kind of lingering around was just like, who's been living in my shop? Which, surprise, it's Peter Pan. I had a little bit of a chuckle when I was watching the episode, and the chipped cup is now in the shop. Which, if the chipped cup is now in the underworld, is the chipped cup dead now? Because he did smash it earlier in the season. Like Rumpel smashed the chipped cup. Is the cup dead? Does the cup have unfinished business, and that's why it's now in the underworld? Like, I have questions, and the show's not going to answer them, but, like, just the fact that they're like, oh, this is where the souls with unfinished business go, and then we have the cup that doesn't exist anymore in our world. I think the cup has unfinished business, you guys. We'll see what the cup's unfinished business is later. That was just my silly thought. Okay. Peter Pan grew up a little bit because Robbie K does, time has passed since Robbie K has been on. He's grown up a little bit. But he's still a little shit. I still love him. He's such a good villain just because he just wants to mess with people, and I love it. It's good. It's just a good old-fashioned villain who doesn't care and just wants to mess with you. It's a good, always a good time, a good villain who just wants to mess with people for no other reason than it's fun. We have, they're bargaining and just trying to get him to come back from the dead, and like, no, that's not going to happen. And he gets the dead speaking ale. So I guess because we have the ale, that lets you speak to the dead, which was first introduced in the episode that only had Merida and Mulan and Ruby in it. I guess the episode can stay, even though it wasn't from Merida. It was from Peter Pan. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting to see what the payoff of that episode is, if there is any. Are we gonna get Red Warrior? Are we gonna get anything out of it? Are we gonna? I know we're gonna see Merida again. After there was a little bit of a Twitter issue with Miss Amy, whose last name I can't remember, but she plays Merida. There is a little bit of a snafu on the old tweets. She got in a little bit of trouble because she retweeted some stuff about Merida being not sent off properly. That's why be careful about what you put on the internet. So there were some issues with that, but she is coming back. I know Merida is going to be back this season for at least one more episode. There might be more, but I know there's at least one more thing that she's going to come back for. And this is me being petty, but like I do love when they have Ginny and she's pregnant, where that happens, and they have her playing Snow, and it's just like, you little baby bump, and you're Snow White, and you're not supposed to have a baby bump, but I just think it's cute anyway. When she's being Bandit Snow, it's always a little bit funny to me, but this is the second time it's happened. I should not be giggling about it still, but I'm just like, you're really cute in your Snow White outfit and your baby bump. So that happened, and then Cora took this whole thing of Cora taking Snow's heart, and then Henry taking it back and giving it back to her. I'm not sure I liked it. It felt shoehorned in. And I don't even know where we're at. It's after, we've declared, let's take the kingdom back. So we're kind of at the beginning of Snow's revolution, because she doesn't have her fancy army. She doesn't have her fancy clothes yet. She still dresses as a bandit. So I guess it's near the beginning of the revolution. I just not digging it. I didn't dig it. It was for a point of Cora to be like, I'm on your side, Regina, to continue to manipulate you. And it was a point for Henry to be like, I don't want you to be like this anymore. And that was kind of it, because it didn't change anything. The status quo stayed the same. So I didn't really like it very much. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm sorry to people who like Regina, but I did not like her background stuff this episode. Yeah, it felt weirdly shoehorned in. But again, it's I can see that being similar to that with, in Swan Song, we just had Regina changed her hairstyle and costume 3 hours after meeting Killian and being like, hey, come kill your father and then go kill my mother. That was shoehorned in too. So there's so much shoehorning in of this very tightly packed backstory already, and I'm just like, ah. So yeah. So then we get to the graveyard. We have the ale, the beer that allows you to speak to the dead. And you know what? We just got to slow clap it out. Slow clap to the fact that they went there. Killian is very bloodied. He's very beat up. His eyes swollen shut. There's his jacket's all scorched. There's burn. That was some straight up horror movie makeup. And I don't like horror movies, and the fact that I'm saying it I did see, a still picture this morning, and I legitimately got the creeps. It was that sick feeling in your stomach when you see something gross you don't want to see or weren't expecting it. I got that, and I was just like, oh my God, they're actually they went there. This family friend, it was, you couldn't really see it very well in the show. It was flickering in and out and whatever. But they went there. They definitely were just you know what? He's in the underworld and he did some bad stuff. So what happens to bad people when they go to hell? well, they get the crap beat out of them, and they went there. And for a family-friendly show, I think that was a very bold move. I approve of it. I know we've had, like people having swords run through them and everything, but like, usually it's like the Disney death, where like when Regina was dying at the end of season 4, it was like, oh, I have a stomach wound and you can kind of see the blood stains on my chest, but mostly it's just covered up and I'm just gonna lay here and die. Like, it was very calm. Whereas this is just like, the makeup department's like, we have all these blood effects now, dump it all over him. So like, I was very impressed that they just were like, we're doing it, we're just gunning for it, we're gonna go. They went there. Not that I like it, because I don't want Killian to be hurt, but I appreciate the fact that they at least went for it. So gotta appreciate the fact that they're just like, we're already locked in for 6 seasons, so I'm gonna go for it. So that happened. And very spotty reception in like, they didn't, his grave's a little bit new, so maybe the whole like Wi-Fi cellular tower, whatever works to get this thing going, it's not quite set up yet. So it's a little spotty reception. So he kind of flickered in and out, and like he couldn't really hear it. And then BK did the thing that BK does, where she's like, do you think that he saw her? You think that he knows that she's there? Do you think she's an illusion? And I'm just like, maybe he thinks that she's actually there and she's dead. So it's angst fest in CS Town. And then we had a little moment where David's like, no, we're staying because I believe in you, Emma. And father-daughter moments all around. I'm really emotional about it. Okay, I'm gonna pause there for a second. I'm gonna get to comments because I see a lot of comments popping up. And we're gonna talk a little bit. The Once Upon a Time Pokemon fic. I haven't even like gotten half of the things that I need to get done for that, and I'm trying to finish Dark Horse first. Let me finish that first, and then we'll get to the rest of. We'll get to the Pokemon stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, I hate Matt Smith's face because I love him so much. So that's how I feel about Pan. I hate your face because I love you so much. Yeah, oh my gosh, I was thinking it. I didn't want to say it out loud, but Katie said it first. That cup desperately needs its OTP to stop lying and manipulating each other. That it's unfinished business. So yeah, the cup just wants Rumbell to be a healthy and happy couple in a good relationship that is not based on lies and manipulation. So that's unfinished business. I can get on board with that because that's what I want to. I like, everybody's like, oh, you mean you don't ship Rumbell? I'm like, I don't ship this version of Rumbell. I ship a version of Rumbell where nobody's being lied to and everybody's happy, because I think that version could exist. It just doesn't exist in the show right now. So I want it to be real. I want it to be a reality, but it's not reality right now. So I don't ship that version of it. I ship the happy version of it. Because I know it can exist. I know it can be there. It just needs to, lots of things need to change. Yeah, the poor cup, and the thing with Rumple is he's always, he and Regina are very similar, and then it's like, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, or sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. They make progress, and then they revert when things get tough. Like Rumple and Regina are very alike in that way. And I feel like in this case, he took 1 step forward and then a bunch of steps backwards because he found that loophole where he can, like, I can get away with being the thing that I want to be again. It goes back to, like, me and everybody else on the planet has been like, it's the addiction. It's being in love with an addict. It's tough to love somebody who is always going to love somebody else. It's not somebody else, but something else more than you, and that thing is ultimately going to be their downfall. That's very much what this version of Rumbell is. It's going to be you know, he's always going to love the magic more than her. And I don't want that to be the case, but every show needs a villain. So that's my poignant point of view for right now. Yeah, the Twitter thing with Mary, yeah, that was, oh, we will get to Jiminy Cricket. We'll get to that. That was weird, but we'll get to that. Honestly, if we were gonna have like, so for this comment is, I feel like this episode could have been so much more for 100th. We already had a lot of Regina flashbacks. Yes and no. Like, it is like at the beginning of a new story arc, and we just left at this very poignant cliffhanger. So like, despite the fact that it was the 100th episode and we could have done some more with it, like, we could have done how, like, I thought at the beginning that everybody had gotten separated and like had to be in their own place with their own person who like was their, like, they were the unfinished business for this one person. They had to like defeat that person and like move on to the next level and like be able to get to the center area and meet up again. You can tell I've been playing video games because I just said they beat the boss and go to the next level. So like, we could have had that. And I think that would have been interesting. It would have been a lot of solo work for a lot of people, or working with people that they haven't in a long time, and could have bounced around a little bit differently. And, you know, for the 100th episode, it could have been a musical. I keep saying that we need to have a musical episode because I don't like musical episodes. So for me to say we need a musical episode is saying a lot. Just the fact that it's Disney. And it's on ABC, and these are Disney characters, or like characters that Disney has really popularized. And a lot of the cast members can sing pretty well. So like, I feel like it would be really cool to like have that. I think I've talked about it before, how I would just think it'd be really cool to have a musical episode where it's just like everybody but Emma can sing because Emma's like, what do you like? And she's like the Disney princess that can't sing. She's that one that everybody always wants on Tumblr. So I think it would be funny. But like, and that could have been interesting if we had it like very plot related, like Buffy, the musical episode of Buffy, Once More with Feeling. That could have been a good reference to that if we had gone that way, but we didn't. So it could have been more, but they did happen to have the 100th episode in a very plot poignant area. So like, we couldn't really do anything super duper special for those reasons, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, the word bloody has a whole new perspective. Bloody hell indeed. Yeah. Yeah, Underbrook Graveyard is quite a lot bigger. And I think that everybody who is in the group, except for like Henry, probably has a couple of people who they are responsible for. Because like, you can't tell me that like the first time Emma's killed somebody is Corella DeVille. I would think that the first, like, she was a bail bonds person. She might have been inadvertently responsible for a couple of deaths that those people are hanging around there. Who knows? But I really sincerely I think Corella's death was like the first one that she was directly, intentionally responsible for. She was probably indirectly, unintentionally responsible for a couple of other deaths in the past, just because of the nature of her job. You can't tell me that there aren't people who would rather, you know, kill themselves rather than pay a lot of debt or go back to court or to jail or anything like that. So like that, I'm sure that happened to her in her past. They're not going to say that because, again, PG-13 show that for some reason just decided to like show Killian Jones beaten, bloodied, and burned. You know, beggars can't be choosers, whatever. Yeah, so choosing to believe somebody dropped Jimmy down the back of Snow's shirt as a prank. Yeah, I could see that, but I don't know. It was weird. It was just weird, super weird. Yeah, they destroyed Killian's pretty jacket. He has a swollen eye, has bloody wounds, ruined clothes. Perfect hair though. The hair is a 10. It's on good hair. You can't mess with the flow, man. You cannot mess with his flow. I don't know. Like I like just because we're just starting, and again, I stay away from a lot of the things of like I think they're on episode 21 right now filming. I don't know what's going. I don't know anybody who does know, because I usually do kind of hang around the people who have been on set, and nobody has any idea what's going on yet. And if they do, they're not telling me, and I'm glad they're not. So I don't know. I would like to have, like a full 2 hours of Captain Cobra Swan family feels. I wrote a very long fic about what I would like to see happen. That's not going to happen because this show thrives on action and like things moving forward. But oh geez. But I wrote a fic during the break that was just like there's this long moment of like there's a couple of weeks where they don't know how to talk to each other because like so many things happened. It was all really bad, and it was really bad what happened. They she deliberately denied his request to die, and she then felt bad for it, and he went crazy and he said all these cruel things to her, and she killed him, and like there's all kinds of stuff that happened there that was all very bad. And like I was just like, I think it would just be great to like show them not knowing how to do this anymore, and like how it just takes time to heal, and it's not going to happen on the show that way, because again, the show is about hope, and the fix is for all the bad stuff that we have to do, the bad stuff that we have to deal with, rather, the aftermath and the effects and whatnot. But I think it would just be interesting to see them actually dealing with it, rather than just like, okay, tra-la-la, we're going to be happy and whatever, it's great. So there's not time for that. I understand that. But my personal feelings is there's going to be a lot of silent treatment and a lot of gaps between bodies in the very large bed in their bedroom, and that's my headcanon. I'm sticking to it. The whiskey stuff not working because they're trying to use it in a place where his soul's already supposed to be. Well, I kind of thought that originally too, but then obviously that got jostled very quickly because somehow there was enough left for Regina to call her dad, and there was great Wi-Fi reception and cell reception where he was at. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with the fact that it was just shoddy reception because reasons. Father-daughter moments, if that was really David. James unzipped his coat and decided to tag along, and David's tied up in a closet somewhere. Oh, that's great. Rumbell season 2 stuff was really good, except for when she was Lacey, but that happens. I don't know. I don't know. I think if you actually, I don't know. I think it's just the 100th episode that like they filmed it, and the 100th episode that has been aired. So like I would put it as that, because it is technically the 100th episode that has aired. So, and they made a big deal about it. Like everybody has made a big deal about it. Like all the way up to the creative marketing directors and ABC Entertainment directors and like all the big shots. They're like, it's a milestone for a show, and it is a really big deal for a show to like hit 100 episodes these days, just because of the nature of the beast and television. You either have something that runs forever and they run into the ground, like NCIS or any other long-running TV show, Law and Order, SVU in particular, which I stopped watching a long time ago for other reasons, but lots of stuff it's been on forever, and like to have a show that is so quirky, like this is a quirky show. This is not a usual show. This is and I think that's what made it so special, and what made it hit is because it is different. It's not a police procedural. It's not some kind of cop drama. It's not, it is kind of, like cop drama in that like we have several people of the family who work for the police department and they're trying to solve fairy tale crimes, but it's not that. It's about family, and it's about hope and love and things that we don't really see very much anymore. And it is just a weird little show that has such a strong following and a strong message, and it is really important that we have shows like Once that do focus on things like that, because it does get exhausting to just see like, oh, the new crime drama, the new police procedural, the new detectives, lawyers, whatever. I'm just like, I'm tired of detectives and lawyers. I wanted to see shows about kick-ass fairy tale princesses saving their pirate captain boyfriends. So yeah, just the fact that they made it this far when so much was already against them, I think is really important. It's really significant. So it might not be the official 100th episode. That might be next week because Smash the Mirror was 2 episodes, part 1 and part 2. But you know, it happens. So it goes. So yeah, I've seen a couple of people talk about Once the Musical, and I thought that was funny. But I always have something different in mind than everybody else talks about. But that's just me. Yeah, Jim, we're gonna get to Jiminy and Snow in just a minute. It's on mine. It's coming up next in the notes. So yeah. Interestingly enough, within speaking of NCIS, just really quick, I and Ziva particularly, I was at the bookstore today and I was buying. I bought. I caved. I know I told you guys I wasn't going to do it, but I bought the Killian Jones figure. I'm sorry I had to. It was driving me crazy that I didn't have it. So now I have an Emma sandwich between 2 Killians on my desk here, and I have definitely read that fanfic before. I bought The Martian because I needed to have a new book to read, even though I have like a stack of books right over here that I haven't read yet, and I need to. But I was at the bookstore and I was looking for other books to see if I wanted anything else, and I saw Cote de Pablo on the cover of a book, and I was like, what? Is this bad Photoshop? But no, it's actually her because it's based on this new miniseries that she's in, and I was just like, okay. So yeah, she's still doing stuff. She has work after Ziva, and I did stop watching around the time that Ziva left because, you know, I'm Tiva all the way. Surprise, surprise, I'm with the 2 sarcastic assholes who love each other very much and don't want to show it. Yeah. So, okay. So back to the episode. We've gone through a lot. So the next part that I have, there might have been something a little bit more to the graveyard scene that I didn't touch on because it was very short and it was very heartbreaking, and I don't want to talk about it anymore because sad things. We flash to a very lovely birthday cake and grumpy cat Regina on top of it. Like she's behind it like, she's really, really mad about having this birthday cake and having this party. So I very much enjoyed that part of the flashback. I really very much enjoyed grumpy Regina on her birthday. I got a good tickle out of that. And what did I put? Timeout. How is this happening? Oh, I think that was just me like trying to wonder like when is this happening? Like how like Regina has Snow's heart. How did she not die? I think was my thought process of like how is this happening? So we have the mirror, and we have Snow giving this mocking toast to her stepmother, and we have Regina trying to crush the heart, and it looks like Snow's heart's getting crushed. And it's not. It is, in fact, Jiminy Cricket hanging out in Snow White's boobs on the show for kids. You know, it's for kids and families and family-friendly events. Archie Hopper hanging out with Jiminy Cricket, no less. Jiminy Cricket hanging out in Snow White's cleavage. You heard it here, kids. Jiminy Cricket likes boobs. Why? Why did this happen? I don't know, and I'm going to speak like a flabbergasted southern lady who's going to faint on a fainting couch because I don't... I don't have words. I don't. I don't. I know that they're trying to fit a lot of people in who haven't been seen in a while on the show. I do understand that. And Archie is one of them. And maybe they couldn't get the actor who plays Archie, so they just put in the CGI cricket. And I know that they had to do something to make it, to do the fake out, to do the whole like, oh my God, my chest, I can't, I feel like something. But the cricket, who we know is an intelligent, sentient being who used to be a human and then later we know as a therapist later. And I need more therapy just from this scene. I already have a lot of therapy, but I need more because I watched Jiminy Cricket jump out of Snow White's cleavage. That's a thing that happened, you guys. I don't, I need to drink this water because I don't. Jiminy Cricket jumped out of Snow White's boobs on Regina's birthday. Usually people have, you know, like someone like Regina, you would expect to have a very handsome half-naked man jump out of a birthday cake for her. No, we had Jiminy Cricket jump out of Snow White's boobs. That was a thing that happened. We all watched it. We all acknowledged that it happened. I'm going to move on now. Yeah. So at some point, Regina she shrinks her dad because he stole the heart and he gave it back to Snow White. Somehow this happened. Off screen, of course. And somehow Regina, there's still enough magic beer left in this tiny little vial that dumped over Killian's grave to talk to her dad. Where we had this nice little moment where it was completely non-glitchy and there was great signal. There was great cell reception, full bars for Regina and none for Emma Swanby. I want to know how much beer was left and like why Emma didn't just like dump more on to like increase it. Like, hey, maybe if we do this, we'll get more. But drama, I'm going to go for drama. I'm going to go that they just went the drama route. And they let Regina have this very poignant, very important moment with her dad. And I thought it was really good because, like I said earlier, there's been this whole thing where, you know, through all of most, if not all of Regina's childhood, she had her mother completely being very abusive towards her daughter and Henry doing nothing about it. Whereas now we have him finally trying to do something to protect his daughter. And we have, we talked about this a little bit earlier, where we have, I was just like, wait, how did Henry get back to in the Wonderland if he can't jump through the mirror because she put this unsealable thing on the mirror? Which I guess is going to happen after Regina took the potion that made her infertile. I just thought of that because that flashback had Cora coming through the mirror coming out of Wonderland. So I'm going to guess that this whole thing with her birthday happened after the whole thing with Daniel's death and his death day and Regina being like, hey, Mom, what are you doing here? And she took the potion to make herself infertile. I'm going to guess this happened way after that. So somehow Henry gets back probably through Jefferson, or he does get back through Jefferson. So somehow through all this, Regina finds Jefferson, which would be really cool if Sebastian Stan made a little appearance in this back here in the Once Land. I don't think so. I know we're doing some Oz stuff. I don't know if I don't think we're going to do any more Wonderland stuff this season anyway. And I think Seb Stan still needs his hair to be long because he's still being the Winter Soldier. So, you know. And so then we have Cora in the Judgment Fire with Henry Sr., and she did the thing that I hate. That I hate because it's so common, and it pisses me off because it is a thing that all manipulators do, where she's like, I don't want to do this, but I have to for your own good. And I'm like, oh, this is you're awful and I hate you. It's something that all manipulators do, and I hate it. It's awful. It's so like flashbacky for me. It's flashbacky for other people. It's bad. So she does this, and then she's like, it was for your own good, and man, she vanishes. She goes somewhere. And then this is where we get to the point where I'm pretty sure that the flames are a form of judgment, because we have Henry Sr. being engulfed in the flames, and then like he's like, oh, I'm fine, what is this? And then we have this moment of like, oh, the light, head towards the light, it's the goodness, this is where he belongs. The bridge crosses over the hellfire as well. So we have this really great moment where Henry does acknowledge that his one regret, his unfinished business, is that he was never able to protect Regina from Cora. So in this way, in making her like believe in herself and be able to stand up to Cora, was his unfinished business being resolved, I guess. And it was just really good for both characters, because, you know, Henry has been a very weak character. Henry Sr. rather has been a very weak character, and you know, Regina's whole thing has always been that she's never lived up to her mother's expectations. She's never felt like she has been she's never been able to feel like she can stand up to her mother, who has been her abuser. So the fact that she's able to do all this, and it's because Henry was like, no, you need to do this. Like it's good for both characters, I think. And then Henry gets to meet his grandfather, and the man he was named after. And we had this nice little moment where he's, you know, Henry thanks Henry Sr. for helping her, and then Henry Sr. thanks Henry Jr. for being there for Regina and believing in her when he's not able to be there to do it for him. Or the word, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, that was a really good scene where we had the two Henrys on Team Regina, so it was good. So I'm pretty sure now we're just going to spend the rest of the season sending people onto their salvation or their ultimate damnation. Digging back into that same thing in 4B. Remember when I was really excited about Lily's name in 4B? You know, she's like the incarnate of evil. We're getting right back into all that stuff. So we pop back up to the street, and Emma is in a beanie that she just has, I guess, because she's Emma, and why wouldn't she just have an emergency beanie? So they're like, okay, we're gonna go do this, and Rumple's just like, screw you guys, I'm going home. And I don't know if he actually like goes home, if he gets on a boat and he leaves, or if he's just like fucked off somewhere. But he probably did that too, I don't know. Maybe he went back to Storybrooke, maybe he didn't. I didn't really catch that. If he did, please let me know in comments, because I don't remember. I was too busy focused on Emma's beanie. And we had a very nice scene we have that happening, and then Henry names it Operation Firebird. And Emma, I liked that Emma was like, is this the bird or is this the classic car? And I just liked that moment. But we have this nice moment of, we have Emma and Henry and Snow and Charming, and then we have Regina and Robin, and they all kind of walk off together, and I'm like, it's true love is going to find another true love, and I'm just really happy. It was just a nice moment of like pairs off of true love going to find more true love and live happily ever after at the end. And then we have a moment of the broken clock tower moving again, and I was like, that's interesting that we have the broken clock tower moving, and how it was like very parallel to the beginning of the show, when like Emma decided to stay, and like that's what got things moving again. And so we have Regina standing up to her mother, and like she's now, the clock tower is moving in because she decided to stay. But that wasn't in fact the case, because Hades is just like, yo, every tick-tock is a soul leaving my domain, and I don't like losing things that are mine. So I have a couple of things to comment about this last scene, and then I will get back to comments, and we'll be done. I'm going to get through this, and then we'll be done with the episode, and then we can talk about other stuff in comments. So I'm wondering, what are these weird smokestacks that we have everywhere? Because you've seen they look like the orange barrels. If you are from, an area that does construction on the roads constantly, like me, I live in Ohio, where we have construction all year round, damn the weather otherwise. They have the orange and white cones everywhere, and these ones are emitting smoke. And I'm very confused about, except unless it's just to like add to the ambiance of the underworld, but like smokestacks have to come from something. Like there has to be a purpose for them. So what's the purpose of the smokestacks? So thought number 700, I'm sure at this point. I don't know how many thoughts I've had. Yeah. And then we have Cora walking in the library, and she takes the elevator down, and she goes way down, like super far down, like I think further down than Maleficent's trap was. Then we have Cora going down in the elevator, and it's like, how much we're already in the underworld, so how much more under can we get in the underworld? Like what are the layers that we're talking about here? That's all I want to know. We had a really cool shot of the 5 rivers of the underworld. I forget what the rivers are, but I know there was the river Styx. I knew as much, and then I know there are other ones. I don't remember what they are, but we had this really cool shot of the 5 rivers, all kind of converging around where Hades is getting a pedicure from somebody. I want to know who this is. Please tell me it's not Persephone, because I'm going to be really upset if Persephone is giving Hades pedicures. But otherwise, if it's not Persephone, then I just want to know who it is, and I will be a little bit better if it's just like that's her job, is to give the Lord of the Dead pedicures, and it's not his wife. Differences. But he like fires off all this sass. He's not the true Hades in my heart is James Woods. This isn't James Woods, but I think I will be able to move James Woods over just a little bit and just slot him in there, because I think I'm gonna like this guy. He's sassing Cora left and right, and I liked that he's just calling her out on her shit. And if the entire rest of this season is peppered in with lots of moments of Hades calling people out on their shit, I'm here for that. I'm totally fine. Again, like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of people who all need to be called out on their bullshit, and I'm here for that. And he gave her this ultimate punishment where he turned her back into a miller's daughter, and to make her go, like, her eternal punishment now is to deliver grain forever and deliver flour. Now, Cora says something that I have questions about. She said, "You promised to save us." From what? There's more questions. I have a lot of questions. I'm very interested to see where the season goes. You promised to save us from what? Because you're already, like, saved because you did bad things, and like, if you follow Hades' orders, then he'll wipe away the sins that the judgment fire would take care of, and like send you off to your nice afterlife. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what goes on here. And I did mention on Twitter and on the Facebook page last week, I was like, man, I'm really excited to see if we have a badly CGI'd Cerberus. We have a badly CGI'd Cerberus next week. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, we get to meet Hercules next week, and we have Snow giving Hercules some pointers and all that. So that is it for my notes, let us get right back into you guys and what y'all are talking about. I'm going to check really quick to make sure that nobody's trying to contact me elsewhere because they can't get into the talking, just in case. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything there. That was almost a Downton Abbey spoiler on my Twitter. I have not watched the series finale yet. Thoughts about last week's or 2 weeks ago's episode, but I haven't seen this week's because obviously I'm here talking to you guys. So, yeah, all right. Yeah, this was definitely the least family-friendly episode in a long time, which I was kind of glad for. I was glad that we're just like, you know what, we're going to go for it. We're just gunning towards, we're like, we're confirmed for season 6, probably in season 7, and probably after that, like I know that the writers have said that they have material for 7 seasons, so if they can get 7 and done, then that's great. So I think at this point they're just like, you know what, I think we can get away with doing this and not worry too much about the ratings or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, Archie drumming up work for his therapy career, his therapy business by popping into fairy tale princesses' cleavages. My therapist is not Archie Hopper. Mine is a very nice lady. So I don't know. Archie thinks about that and is human, and if she, I mean, I know that like Snow knows who Archie is, or like, you know, Mary Margaret knows who Archie is and Snow knows who Hopper is and all that. Like, I think they know who they all are. But man, that's hopefully Henry never finds out about that, or he's gonna need even more therapy. Because I need some. Yeah, that's a good point, Leah. I think the connection is bad because Killian is in pain and suffering. That's my explanation. Yeah, probably like that was one of my thoughts when I didn't write it down, but I do remember thinking like maybe it's because he's in the middle of being tortured and can't talk right now. Sorry, I'll leave a message. Bye. Like, I can totally see that being the reason. You know, give or take. I think we did see, there was one shot of him in the, maybe there is another one, but I remember the one specifically in the trailer, or in, yeah, the preview for next week, where he's like, again, bloodied on the floor. So maybe he is in some kind of prison cell block that stops people. But then I wonder, like, why him specifically? And what's Hades' master plan if he's the villain of this half? So, you know, more questions, no answers yet. Yeah, I do miss Sebstan though, but I can see if he doesn't want to like come back because, you know, J-Mo's his ex-girlfriend. I can see them being like, nah, maybe not. So yeah, I know it is purgatory. I keep saying hell because that's like what everybody has been saying it is, like on all the interviews and everything that I've read. So I do know that it is like a purgatory status. And it is a place where people do get judged, you know, like after so many years of penance, like at least in, I don't know how limbo works in other religions, but at least in Roman Catholicism, which is the only one that I know because I was raised to believe that, that it's, you know, you spend so much time there and eventually you are absolved of your sins because you know, paid your penance during your time there. And it, you know, takes a long time, many, many years. So maybe, you know, Henry has had that enough time. And then he finally did the unfinished business thing and off he goes. So we'll see that. Yeah, it is interesting that Regina seemed to expect the clock tower to move. But it was like, if you noticed, it was flickering a little bit, like the light inside. So my thought was that like maybe she had, because if I'm remembering correctly, the framing of it, she was kind of off to the side, like next to it, so she could have seen it in her peripheral vision. She was kind of off to the side, and then there was Emma and Henry in the middle, and then Snow and Charming were off on the right, at least the way that I was looking at it. But it would have been in like the side view of Regina's vision, especially if she was looking this way towards Henry. So if she had seen it flickering, she might have just turned to expect it and then seen the clock move, and then she'd be like, oh, remember last time that happened? It was when the Savior came to town. And, you know, if we're still going on the whole Regina as the Savior now, which I think was mentioned as being like part of this season as well, or part of this half of the season as well, as continuing the idea of Regina being the Savior, if a Savior or the Savior, I'm not really sure. But Regina and Savior was definitely mentioned at some point. So maybe that was just, she was just like, huh, that's nice. Like, I don't know. But I'm not Lana, and I'm not one of the writers. So, yeah. Yeah, it was nice that like Regina was able to make it to, maybe everybody gets to make the clock tick this season. That'd be nice. Yeah, Hades just getting a pedicure. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, I don't have this. He's a busy guy. Sometimes you just need to like get a pedicure. I think Leith, Lethe, that does sound familiar. And then there's one that's like Mnes. Mnesamine. There's a Y and E at the end. I'm really bad at names. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe. I don't know. Again, my Greek. Didn't I say like at the end of the last half of these? I'm like, I'm gonna spend this hiatus like doing my Greek mythology research. Nope. I've been buried up to my ears in psych stuff. So, yeah, no idea. But it was really good for that. Hades the Sass King. I'm just looking forward to that. Possibly Hades offering to protect evil people from their fate. That'd be good. Bloody Killy. Hashtag find Killy. Hashtag save Hook. Acheron, Achern, River of Woe. Cocytus, Cocytus, River of Lamentation. Y'all are throwing some big words at me here, Kimberly. Phlegethon, Phlegethon, River of Fire. Styx, River of Unbreakable Oath, by which the gods took vows. I know River Styx. And Lethe, Lethe, River of Forgetfulness. I'll be interested to see if all of these rivers have some kind of plot point later. And beyond rivers is the gate guarded by a three-headed Cerberus. So is Emma Hercules and Killian Meg? Well, right now, symbolically, if we go by the movie, the animated movie, then yes, that is the case. Emma is the one that's going to dive into the River of Souls and grab Killian, and she's going to be all wrinkly and come out and achieve godhood. Probably not, but it'd be still great to bring back like the glowy effects for her. And also just like the image of like Emma, like you know, the hero thing is always like the man is like carrying the woman in his arms bridal style. So just like Emma carrying Killian bridal styles, I'm just like, I'm good with that image. That's a nice image to have. So there's that, and but they did cast Hercules and Megara. Hercules is coming in next week, and we get to see his thingamabobs and thingamajews and jewhickeys and other things. So we'll see where that goes next week. I don't know. Yeah. So what else is there to discuss? Did we leave any discussion points out? Because my throat is starting to not be happy with me now. It's been a long time since I've talked this much. I'm trying to think, what else did I miss anything that I wanted to talk about? Talked about that and that, and yeah, I can't really think of anything that I didn't cover, because I did, you know, we went through the whole list. I didn't skip over anything. Yeah, did I really not? Yeah. It's a lot there were some really good points that I liked in Regina's flashbacks. Excuse me. But there were just a lot. It hit, like somebody said earlier, hit a lot of the same beats that it usually hits, and ultimately did not. It paid off later for Regina, but it didn't like. It wasn't like a moment of realization. It's just more like, oh, I remember when that happened, and I should probably make that stick in now. So yeah. So I'm going to give it another minute, but I think we are good to go. We discussed pretty much everything that I wanted to. I can't think of anything else. So if nobody else has anything, I'm going to wait a second to let that load. OMG, I made one joke post and the entire, my Twitter or my Facebook, or how many social media sites can I name before I hit the right one? My entire Tumblr activity page just exploded. Whoopsie daisy. So yeah, I think that's it from me then. I'm gonna do something else now. Next week, again, same time, same place. We will reconvene on March 13th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whenever you watch the recorded version of this. I will be here. Actually, Daylight Savings Time begins next week, so I will be less rested because we spring forward an hour here in the United States and possibly Canada, but I think I don't, does Canada do daylight savings time? Canada. Anyway, we are moving forward ahead an hour, but that should not affect the time because it's still going. Is it? Ooh, good question. I think it's still at 8 p.m. next week. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't think that should affect anybody outside of the. Yeah, I think I'm getting time zones and actually yeah, it should still be 8 o'clock, but it's gonna feel different because daylight savings time is happening. Yeah, so March 13th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to set your clocks forward an hour. And this shouldn't worry about it. It'll just, if you are watching in another country, I think what'll change is instead of it being GMT -5, it'll be GMT -4 now. I'm pretty sure that's how this works. If it's -5 during non-daylight savings, we go forward, then we lose an hour, then yeah, it should be -4. So subtract 4 hours instead of 5 hours. But I will make lots of posts. I'll follow my Facebook page, and I will make lots of posts like, hey, it's only half an hour, and other things that make my voice crack. And we will see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This was a lot of fun. I missed doing this. I know I said I was going to do a whole bunch of videos, or I was going to try to do videos over the break. Didn't quite happen because grad school happened. But I have ideas for things, just not had time to actually do it, or energy or motivation. But hopefully that'll change in the next couple of weeks. Yes. So thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week. Have a lovely week. Do fun things. Be nice to people, and give your pets lots of hugs from me. Okay. Bye.